You know the story. We've all heard it, right? Your parents, maybe your grandparents, bought a house for what sounds like pocket change today. And now, well, it's worth a fortune. It feels like the bedrock of the American dream. But what if that whole story, that entire foundation of wealth, is basically an illusion? All right, let's get into it.
From the moment we start thinking about our future, it's drilled into us. Buying a home is the smartest, safest path to building wealth. It's the biggest investment most of us will ever make. But what if the game is rigged? What if we've been measuring our success with a ruler that's been shrinking year after year?
I mean, look at this. This is the narrative we all know and love. You buy a house for 80 grand back in 85. Fast forward to today, it's worth 450,000. Boom! $370,000 in wealth just like that. On paper, it looks incredible. That's the story we tell ourselves in US dollars, and man, it feels good. But here is where everything gets turned on its head. The problem isn't the house. The problem is the dollar itself. What if the dollar has been quietly losing its value year in and year out? It makes it look like your house is skyrocketing in value, when really, it's just the currency we use to price it that's getting weaker and weaker.
And this is where it gets really crazy. So back in 1985, that $80,000 house would have cost you about 250 ounces of gold, okay? Today, even though it's priced at $450,000, it's only worth about 195 ounces of gold. Let that sink in. Measured against something stable, the house didn't gain value. It actually lost about 22% of its real worth. The wealth wasn't created, our measuring stick just shrank.
Exactly. That quote just nails it. It's a massive accounting trick. It's like if we made our yardsticks a little bit shorter every year and then threw a party celebrating how much taller our kids are getting. We feel richer, but in real, tangible terms, we're being misled.
And to really get this, you have to understand what a fiat currency is. Since 1971, the US dollar hasn't been tied to gold at all. Its value is based on, well, faith. Faith in the government. And crucially, its supply can be expanded basically whenever the central bank decides to. This is the engine that makes the whole shrinking ruler thing possible.
Okay, so if it's not real wealth creation, what is actually going on? Why does my Zillow estimate keep ticking up every month? Well, the analysis suggests there are three main things pushing prices up, but believe me, they are not created equal. And this breakdown is just wow. A full 70% of the price increase we see has nothing to do with the hot market or bidding wars. It's just our currency becoming weaker. All the stuff we hear about on the news, supply and demand, big corporations buying up homes, yeah, that matters, but it's all happening on top of a much, much bigger monetary wave.
So think of it like this. Market mechanics, that's the 20%. That's the local story. It's the waves on the ocean. It's why a house in San Jose costs more than one in Cleveland. Corporate investors, they're like pouring gasoline on a fire that's already burning. But currency devaluation, that's the big one. That's the hidden tide that's been slowly rising for decades, lifting every single boat and making everything feel more expensive, because our dollar is just worth less.
Okay, so if this isn't real wealth being created for everyone, then somebody has to be paying the price, right? This isn't just some abstract economic debate. It has deep, real, and painful consequences, especially when you look across generations.
And that leads to this absolutely brutal assessment. The system we have has allowed one generation, those who already owned assets, to see these huge gains on paper, while the next generation is slammed with the wall of unaffordability. It's like the economic ladder has been pulled up behind them.
And the tool that makes this happen is something called the inflation tax. Now, this isn't a tax that Congress votes on. It's a hidden stealth tax that just eats away at the value of your savings and your paycheck. And the worst part, it hits the people with the least the hardest. The young, the poor, anyone on a fixed income. It's a massive, silent transfer of wealth from savers and wage earners to asset owners.
Which brings up the million-dollar question. Why? I mean, why would the Federal Reserve, the institution in charge of our money, intentionally pursue policies that do this? Well, the official answer, their justification, is tied directly to their core mission.
So the Fed has what's called a dual mandate: keep people employed and keep prices stable. But for decades, whenever there's a crisis, the fear of unemployment and economic collapse has always won out over the fear of long-term inflation. We have to save the economy now, and we'll deal with the consequences later.
And you can see this play out so clearly. After the 2008 crash, the Fed dropped interest rates to zero and started printing money through quantitative easing to keep the system from imploding. Then they just kept doing it. And in 2020, they went into absolute overdrive. All of it, they said, was to prevent another Great Depression and keep people in their jobs.
But is that really the right way to think about it? The counterargument, captured so bluntly here, is that this logic is completely backwards. It's arguing that inflation itself is a brutal, punishing force, especially on the very people these policies are supposed to be helping. And this gets us to the real heart of the critique. For decades, we faced a choice. We could have used fiscal policy. That's Congress, open debate, passing laws for direct spending funded by taxes we all vote on. Instead, we chose monetary policy, quiet decisions made by unelected bankers using the blunt, hidden weapon of the inflation tax.
And here it is, the most explosive claim in the whole analysis. This wasn't some kind of accident. It was a choice. A choice to use the silent, easy tax of inflation to fund things because it lets politicians avoid the incredibly difficult, messy, and politically unpopular debate about who should actually pay for things.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this boils down to. You can't fix complex social problems with a tool as blunt as interest rates. It's like trying to perform surgery with a sledgehammer. All it really does is make money cheaper, and in the process, it is supercharged inequality.
And the end result of all this is a system that just feels like it's on the brink. A system that feels unsustainable. When the price of having a stable life, like owning a home, constantly runs away from what you can earn in a paycheck, the social contract itself starts to fray.
Which leaves all of us with a monumental choice. Are we going to try and fix this system intentionally, through conscious and probably difficult political decisions? Or are we just going to let it run its course until it simply breaks by default? Really, it's a choice between a deliberate repair and a chaotic collapse.